Just for anybody that logs in, I just re-emailed the governor. I told you about the tapes they had before that are illegal. That it was a Steve and Eric that did it. The FBI looked into it. It's not usable. And that they so-called Photoshop me in some kind of what was a mean joke, what they were talking about Giant Eagle. Funny she didn't know what was going on, and then some guy felt bad about it in the post office. And then they said they photoshopped me in some kind of weird porn that I didn't do. Some guys were talking about it outside that they put two clips together. They should be ashamed of themselves after everything I've been through. The state does tape inside my apartment and at where I used to live at 4490 John Thomas Road in Ravenna. Once I called the FBI, but apparently they were playing with tapes before trying to frame me for things I didn't do. And that was a big mean joke. It's not admissible anyways. But I got to thinking about it with their altered tapes or their little drug confessions. But because they were taping before, where that lady that I didn't hang up with, they said they already pulled it, where she threatened I had called her, I was talking to her. She was babysitting this kid that they paid her like $10 an hour. Now, we were supposed to have been friends for years. I had cleaned her apartment. I had paid for repairs on her car's tires for free. I even paid for totes to organize her apartment. And she had me on the counter. She's a little tiny senior citizen apartment. She's walking around the apartment talking to me. Tries to talk me into going to prayer. I felt a little weird. And I decided not to. And she's like, well, I'll step in for prayer for you. I said, well, that's really nice. I'll go ahead and go. She had me on speaker. I could hear knocking out the door. And where all that money disappeared out of the safe months before, I thought my ex was cheating. And I thought if they're paying somebody $10 an hour, I wondered if it was a baby mama. I'd get rid of them. So I almost hung up and I thought, I just wonder. And I was surprised. Guess who I was on the phone with? You're kidding. I almost tricked her into prayer, where those two guys could show up to take care of her. You know, they pay people to know where she's at. I could have used the money. I actually told her I would step in for prayer for as if, and she's pronouncing her hatred towards me. After I've done all those things for years for her. She starts insulting Kaylee, which is one of the minister's son-in-law sister that's friends with my daughter-in-law. Don't talk about family. It's not good. So, but she was with this woman. Then they go back into the meeting of who was there, how they came up with the money, why it's really sick. I thought they have it. They can't use it because you can't tape someone unaware with tiny cameras in your home. It's one thing if you turn on your phone and you just hit record. You can do that for people you know, but you can't set up tiny cameras and stalk someone unless your police are hired getting evidence. It's not admissible. There's at least 2 laws. But you can't use it. But a week before I called the FBI, you look up that tape. It's nice to need to know information. You can hear who was in the meeting, how much, and And then you'll even have Dave holding me down for 30 minutes and tell me how I have to die for his girlfriend and how he hired a man to kill me. Quite eye-opening. And then if I try to run for it, he has a man to put a bullet in me. That he loves me, but he loves her more, and I'm so sorry you have to die for her. They have several of the cases of the case. It's not usable, because it was just Steve and Eric. But it is quite eye-opening. They ought to be ashamed of themselves for the porn thing, though. Like I said, ignore all their tapes till the last week. And then just look. My phone number used to be the 330-844-7952, but you already know that. And then I went to the 330-596-0933, and I'm not for sure exactly when I flipped it over. But, yeah, I was talking to that Terry Coverly. She never knew I knew. I finally hung up in horror. She would never talk to me again. But you do need to go back to when during the case I met her at Taco Bell, and there was a guy across the parking lot, looked at me, and the men would follow me home, and they would turn off at 2:24, and they didn't follow me home till after the gunshot night, but that guy did. He was sitting off the side where they were building a new home, out the road from my house, and where I'd always walk and try to distress. He was on the phone. I found her. And you should be able to GPS that, because there's no one else around. Find out who he is. Because he also showed up in Camp McDonald's. A couple times, looks at me, looks away. I don't know who he is. Because the police, the State Department, District Attorney's Office, FBI, and CIA all knew where I was. So who is he? Seriously, who is he? So they're still harassing me. They're still saying stupid crap. And in the case, they didn't tell me she lied. We already went over this a million times. Until I overheard the kids on Thanksgiving of 2018 in Ravenna. Third step up. The house was never meant for Grandma. It was meant for Auntie Shell and Papa. I froze because they were dumping out Yambu at everyone. And I stepped back. The agencies were all there. I stepped back down and I looked around. They're in a huddle talking about Mama's attorney friend. Blah, blah, this. And I go up and I sit down, and I had already almost been shot driving, and David already hurt me, and stalkers had already been chased off. Life was crazy, and there was already a head on Dixie and the baby was very tiny. And I sit down next to Dixie, and Flora comes running up there saying mean things in the basement. I walk up to John. It's like, what's going on? I don't know. He said she's just going to make up something because of divorce, and probably the church people too, but it can't be anything bad. It's like, that's not okay. He's like, she just have to make up something. He blew it off. But the guys came up to me. She's so stupid. She made it up when you were fishing with Dave. She's so stupid. She didn't even bother check where you were. The first lie is, when you bent over, they seen your butt. You were wearing this nightgown. I didn't know the nightgown 6 years ago, and they only made fun of the back of my knees. I had a long nightgown on, housecoat, and underwear. And Grandma was on the back of your legs. I was video chatting with Dave how to hook up a DVD player. And I made fun of my varicose veins. The second one, you're weird in the bathroom with yourself, like they're peeking through a bathroom door, and they didn't come upstairs. It was stupid, and I don't do that anyways. It's gross. And then they're going to call you a bad name, and they'll say something else, but they wouldn't tell me until October 23rd, 2019, when Flora were talking about Auntie Shell, and she's like, that's not what they said. They said this, and Josh is like, ew, don't say it again. It's not true. She starts laughing. Of course it's not true. We were pretending. We made it up, and she's laughing a little behind off. And how's this mean game of pretend? But I didn't even know they were going to say that. And she comes in and sits down and smirks at me. She's 7. My God. but she has invisible husbands and imaginary weddings, and they just mean game of pretend. They already knew it was a lie. But the big mean joke was they photoshopped me. And they were taping me unaware before to frame me and apparently putting 2 clips together. But I also got to thinking, well, they can't use anything they got before because it was just Steve and Eric. It wasn't the police and hire. It's illegal. There's 2 laws. And they go to jail for severe stalking. You can't set up tiny cameras in someone's home. You can't even use it. It's thrown out. But if you look at the tapes, the week before I called the FBI, you have me talking to that Terry. You can't use it, but you can hear her have the keys to the case of who was in the meeting, how they took up the money. And you can also see Dave hold me down for 30 minutes and how I'm supposed to die for his girlfriend, and how he hired a man to slit my throat, stab me in the heart. If I try to run for it, he has a man to put a bullet in me. He didn't lie. He did hire a man to stab me in the heart, and some guy did try to shoot me driving. We'll give him that, he's a bastard. But he didn't lie. But, yeah. They can't use any of this. Drug confessions get you 10 to life in prison, and it's not admissible. 5th and 14th Amendment. Made up sodium pentothal reports against government that makes them terrorists. They don't use it. They stole my clothes. You can't steal someone's clothes and use it, and they already know. Oh, and then on top of it, my apartment, they've opened it up like a TV show, and they let random people watch me. Not only caretakers, domestic violence shelters, fire departments, they've let even just random men watch me, even in the bathroom. I'm a human being, and they have people show up to make fun of me. And now the neurochip that the FBI illegally put it in my head. I was at the refrigerator, had a doctor's appointment. Someone stabbed me in the neck. I felt myself cry, and someone hold me. And I remember a bright light. And I woke up 6 hours later. And then a few days later, guys showed up with cell phones. We all can read your thought. And I thought, oh, you're crazy. And then somebody said, okay, we'll go with Myra. You're crazy on the other. But when your thoughts echo from their car, it's a neurochip. I actually did Google neurochips. They are. They've had them since about 2014. They do work into cell phones. Now they've opened them up to they've hacked it in every car. Spy gets to hear my thoughts. I get to watch it echoing. I need the hell out of here. I would like a settlement from the FBI for allowing me to be stuck up there and almost being murdered. And I want the families that got devastated or murdered, especially on the gunshot night, when people didn't show up because they were paid off, or they thought that my ex-husband's girlfriend was so pretty. I want that all of us taken care of, and I need to move to a safe house with a descrambler. It's not funny what's going on. And I was even beat, raped, and tortured between July and September of 2019. And you can find somebody else drugging me between April and July of 19. The state still tapes inside my apartment, and it taped up in Ravenna from like October 1st, last of September of 18 on. Being a protected person in the state, all the local government agencies all tape. You just have to be police and hired to pull it. But now I found out that they hacked their system, and they've let just either random people watch me. I have a right to privacy. This is, one guy said it's really sick what's going on. It's highly illegal. And I need help. And a detractor for the stupid neurochip. In compensation for that, and the beat and rape and torture in the FBI's care. They even act like they arrested him. And they didn't, and they call me stupid for falling for it. And I have internal injuries from that rape. An agent pulled the rape over the weekend. They could have beat her to death. It was horrifying. And so I need help. I need moved to a safe house. I needed to scramble, and I expect a settlement. And for me and the families, you take care of us. Just because people got paid off, this is wrong. And it's wrong over a stupid split level and some diamonds for a young blonde girl. And that church, it's already documented in the case. And I have my ex-husband on the phone stating and taped that there is a list. Well, Josh, Dixie and the baby are next, and there's a list. They're going to move on to more people. I just couldn't figure out why they stopped. They were working on this, and when I found out my attorney didn't file the paperwork, they started, like, they could actually prosecute me for any of this. Lady pulled in and said all their evidence was illegally obtained. It can't be used. Yeah, you can't do this. On top, I was already proven innocent. This is stupid. But I am being threatened and I'm being harassed. And I need the hell out of here. Safely. And I expect a very large settlement from the agency. And I've already talked to you about it. And I want the families taken care of. My God, if that man died, or others, and for the ones that were shot at, they need taken care of and compensated. This is wrong. And those bastards need to go to jail.